Welcome to HSE with Sustainable EHS Consulting, the place where we talk all things health, safety, and the working environment. I'm your host, Barbara Dereka, and today we're tackling a topic that is as dangerous as it is misunderstood: asbestos. If you've ever wondered, what exactly is asbestos? Why is it so dangerous? And why do we have such strict regulations around it? Then stick around, because this episode will answer all those questions and more. Plus, we'll explain how you can keep yourself and others safe in line with legal requirements. Let's jump right in. First things first, what is asbestos? Asbestos is a naturally occurring mineral that was widely used in the construction industry throughout the 20th century because of its strength, heat resistance, and insulating properties. You could find asbestos in materials like roof tiles, insulation boards, pipes, cement, and even floor tiles. But here's the kicker. While asbestos was being used for all these beneficial purposes, its deadly health risks were largely unknown to the public. So, why is asbestos so dangerous? Well, when asbestos materials are disturbed, through drilling, cutting, or even aging, tiny fibers are released into the air. These fibers, when inhaled, can lodge in your lungs and cause serious health problems. Some of the major asbestos-related diseases include mesothelioma, a rare and aggressive cancer of the lung lining; asbestosis, a chronic lung condition caused by prolonged exposure to asbestos; lung cancer, directly linked to inhaling asbestos fibers. The scary part? These diseases can take 20 to 50 years to develop, so exposure today could mean severe health consequences decades later. By the late 20th century, governments worldwide woke up to the dangers, and asbestos was banned in many countries. But even though we stopped using it, asbestos didn't just disappear. Buildings constructed before the year 2000 often still contain it, meaning asbestos is still a risk today. And this brings us to the importance of regulations. Let's talk about that next. So, why are regulations around asbestos so important? Put simply, asbestos regulations are there to protect human health, prevent unnecessary exposure, and ensure proper management and safe removal of asbestos materials. In the UK, for example, the Control of Asbestos Regulations 2012 make it very clear. It is illegal to disturb asbestos without proper risk assessments and safety controls in place. Employers must identify and manage asbestos in their buildings. And if you're working on a site that could contain asbestos, you need proper training and protective measures. Let me give you a quick scenario. Imagine you're renovating an older building. You're drilling into the walls, and suddenly, asbestos fibers are released. Without knowing it, you've just exposed yourself and anyone nearby to a deadly hazard. Now, here's where regulations come in. Before any work starts, a proper asbestos survey must be conducted. This identifies where asbestos is present and how to manage it safely. Workers must wear the right personal protective equipment, PPE, like masks and overalls. And only licensed professionals should carry out asbestos removal if it's required. The regulations aren't there to make life difficult. They're there to save lives. Ignoring them isn't just dangerous, it's also illegal. In fact, breaching asbestos regulations can lead to huge fines and even imprisonment for serious violations. So, it's always better to follow the rules. Alright, so how can you stay safe and compliant when it comes to asbestos? Here are some key tips. Know the age of your building. If your building was constructed before the year 2000, there's a good chance asbestos could be present. Conduct an asbestos survey. Always hire qualified professionals to inspect and test for asbestos. There are two types of surveys. A management survey, to identify asbestos and monitor it during normal use. A refurbishment/demolition survey, required before any major work begins. Train your team workers need proper asbestos awareness training. This teaches them how to identify asbestos risks and respond safely. Don't disturb it. If asbestos is in good condition and not disturbed, it's usually safer to leave it alone. Damaging or removing it improperly is what releases fibers into the air. Hire licensed contractors. Asbestos removal isn't a DIY job. Always use licensed professionals with the right equipment and training. Following these steps might seem like extra work, but it's worth it. No shortcuts are worth risking your health or that of your colleagues. To wrap up today's episode, here are the key points to remember. Asbestos is deadly. Even short-term exposure can lead to life-threatening diseases decades later. Regulations exist for a reason. They're there to protect lives and ensure asbestos is managed safely. Don't take risks. Always conduct surveys, follow procedures, and hire qualified professionals when dealing with asbestos. The bottom line? Safety first. By understanding the risks and following the regulations, you can protect yourself, your team, and the people around you. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of HSE with Sustainable EHS Consulting. If you found this information useful, don't forget to share it with colleagues and friends. Let's keep the conversation going. Stay safe, stay informed, and see you next time.